create a Project Accelerator, distraction eliminator, and confidence builder to use as a motivational tracking system when you author a book. This is secret number 8 of 8 secrets in this series on how to author a best-selling book in less than 40 hours of your time. Get ready to take notes. This is a very important secret or key. So, I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been very blessed and honored in my 50 years of helping clients, customers optimize assets and minimize taxes to empower them with the written word, the spoken word, with video, audio. But I've been very blessed to have authored 12 books, and all of them have become bestsellers. Half of them, I've never even really inventoried them. They're digital. The other half, they are printed in hard copy. I've only had 3 of them actually become hardbound. Softbound are, of course, less expensive if you're going to be self-publishing. But I'm going to leave a lot of that up to you. I now personally do softbound books. And I'm interested in getting the information out there to people because I use my books as bird dogging tools to find and filter right fit clients that when they read the book and all of a sudden they go, oh, I want to implement this, that usually 1 out of 20 books that people then purchase, and we actually gift them to them for free, but they have to contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. But when they read it, they want to implement it sooner or later. So at least every 20 books that goes out, it turns into a client that generates over $20,000 of revenue. So we use books as bird dogging tools. I've gone through 1 million books in my career in the last 2 decades. And I have not made any money off of the sale of books directly. I've spent more money giving them away than I brought in, but my purpose is to educate people so that once they read it, they got educated and they ended up wanting something they didn't know they wanted until they got educated, if that makes sense. So this is secret number 8. If you have not viewed the other 7 secrets, I would recommend you do that. This particular secret talks about how I use methods in order to keep distractions to a minimum. When I sit down to actually dictate a book or jot out, the worksheets that I've been referring to, I have to make sure that I have my snacks, my box of crackers, my ice water and everything, because things will get distracting. So I have to have everything at my fingertips. Otherwise, I will make excuses to stop my trend of thought. Sometimes, and my wife in particular knows that when I'm in the flow, when I'm focused, if she were to say, honey, I have a quick question. It's a quick question, but it takes me 15 minutes to get back to the mind, the thought process I was in when I got interrupted. So that's me. And so I had to develop systems to keep me from being distracted. And she knows not to interrupt me unless it's an emergency when I'm writing. That's why I usually escape to our cabin or a condo to be able to get books done, because I want to be sort of secluded to be able to focus on this. And there's a lot of authors that do the same thing. They don't want to be surrounded by everything that's going on and the kids and whatever. Sometimes authors get up in the morning before the kids wake up and they will work on a chapter. I like to be totally alone. My second book, I would get away to my cabin for 3-day segments, and I would write a chapter a day for 3 days. And I did that in a month, 4 different weekends, to crank out 12 chapters. But I had to be totally alone to do that. And the first and second books are the ones that I actually, dictated and wrote out. From that point forward, I just spit it out. And I've disclosed those secrets in this series. So whether you're going to be dictating the book or you're going to be writing out the formulas, or you're going to actually want to write it out, and you like to write, okay? You don't have to be a writer to be an author. An author is an authority. I would recommend you implement some kind of a system like I'm going to show you that I did. And I call this the Project Accelerator, Distraction Eliminator, and Confidence Builder all in one. And it's actually an 11 by 17 form that folds wide open. And I keep in front of me when I am dictating, writing, working on any of my books. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to explain this. Take notes because I don't let this out. You can create your own. I'm going to zoom in and explain what this is. And again, I print this out on an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. So on one portion of the paper, I have this information here. So let's zoom in on this. And this is then over on the right-hand side. So if we zoom in on the left-hand side, at the top, you notice the Project Accelerator, Distraction Eliminator, Confidence Builder. That's what I call this. In fact, I trademarked all of those, but I've never really published or released this. So I write down the project. This is my book that I'm writing. Let's say it's this book, The Laser Fund, How to Diversify and Create the Foundation for a Tax-Free Retirement. Okay. Now, here's the project. Here's the component focus. This is a financial book that I'm writing that is actually going to be 2 books in one. There's going to be about 200 pages, 14 chapters for the left brain learner with all the charts and graphs. And then the book will be printed so you flip it over this way and you read this direction, 100 pages, 12 chapters that has all of the 62 chicken soup for the financial soul stories for the right brain learner. And that would be maybe the component focus. And then you're writing down the titles, and the titles should be right brain titles. The subtitles should be left brain. That's my suggestion. And this is what my literary agent says, Doug, you are brilliant with your titles. So for example, in my second book, Misfortune 101, the first chapter title, okay, the title of this, so this is per chapter. I'm having one of these sheets in front of me per chapter. So the title that is the right brain title in that book was All the Dogs Barking Up the Wrong Tree Doesn't Make It the Right One. Okay. All the dogs barking up the wrong tree doesn't make it the right one. That is a right brain title. It arouses curiosity. The reader doesn't know what I'm talking about, but they're going, what is this chapter about? So that's emotion. It's tugging at the right brain, at your emotion. Now, the left brain is the subtitle. So the subtitle to that was why sending extra principal payments against your mortgage and setting aside money into tax-deferred IRAs and 401ks is counterproductive. Okay. In fact, the first metaphor is that you're going down the highway with one foot on the gas pedal and the other foot on the brake pedal, because I'm going to show you here, you want to incorporate metaphors. So in other words, it's counterproductive to do what everybody's telling you to do. All the dogs, are telling you to put money in tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks and send extra principal payments against your mortgage to get out of debt. And so you're going down the highway with one foot on the gas and the other foot on the brake. That's counterproductive. In other words, when I said all the dogs barking up the wrong tree doesn't make it the right one, everybody's telling you to do that. I am contrary, and I'm telling you not to do that. Does that make sense? So I get very clear in my mind. The title is right brain. The subtitle is left brain. Now, that's a secret, and it has helped me create bestsellers for 12 books now. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is go through and allocate the time allocation and the success criteria. So in this box on the left-hand side, I'll write down the success criteria for that. And this will be what has to be true in order for this book to be successful and what have you. Get very particular, especially on this chapter. SUCCESS, remember that. That is actually secret number 3. You spell success. The first S is what's the simplest point you need to make. The U is to understand your audience or what's an unexpected fact to shock them. Then you have to be concrete. It has to be credible, has to deal with real life situations, and it can't be abstract. The E is it's got to incorporate emotion. The first of the last S is you've got to incorporate a story that illustrates your point, at least one story. And then the last S is it's got to have substance. It can't be esoteric. They've got to feel like I can do this. So that's the success criteria that I'm outlining for that chapter in this box. And then the issues to address. What issues am I going to address? This is where I'm addressing, maybe again in this example that I just gave, how so many people are just told to follow the herd. Just put money in tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks. Everybody's doing it. You'll likely be in a lower tax bracket when you retire. So maybe the issue is, no, that has not been true or axiomatic for 30 years. Most savers, when they retire, are not in lower tax brackets when they retire because they're going down the highway with one foot on the gas and the other foot on the brake. They're putting money in tax-deferred accounts and they're killing their deductions by paying off their house. They're not contributing money to IRAs or 401ks in retirement, so they don't have that deduction. The kids are gone, or if they're not gone, you can't deduct them anymore. And if you're a business owner, you don't have those deductions anymore. So that's the foot on the brake pedal. And so that's counterproductive. And then people go through retirement with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, and they wonder why they're outliving their money. So these are the kinds of examples of having the issues you're going to address there. Don't follow the herd. This book is about doing things a better way than following the herd. Okay. So down here, you'll notice I actually have the time allocation for the day and the date and the time. So let's say that I am allocating 7 a.m. on Tuesday, and I put down the date, and I'm allocating 2 hours on Tuesday morning. So in the morning, I will allocate how much time I'm going to be writing and focusing, maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the evening, if I'm going to be writing all day. When I was at my cabin, I would dedicate 2 or 3 hours, and then I would go take a walk, get my brain clear, and then I would dedicate 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, the same thing in the evening. And I would write a chapter in one day, easily. So then I would have these little milestones down here at the bottom. And this is where I would say, okay, I'm going to get the first subheading of this chapter. I'm going to get that done in the next 30 minutes because it's a game with me. It's a mental game. So to stay focused, I will have a task or a milestone, the first subtitle, because I will have sometimes 5, 7, 12 subtitles under one main chapter. And the projected finish time, I think I can get this page and a half done in the next 40 minutes, okay? The actual finish time. So it's a game with me. I'm trying to record, am I actually getting it done in the time I'm allocating? It's amazing. I pretty soon figure that out, and it becomes a game with me. Am I actually finishing it in the time that I estimated within a minute or two? Now, this works for me. And then what's the difference? Plus 2 minutes, minus 2 minutes, or whatever. And I just keep track of it. This is gamifying writing a book. I'm simply keeping track of the task, the milestone, the little subsections. What do I think it's going to take to write this? 40 minutes? It actually took me only 38. Great. Okay, I get an extra break or whatever. So that's on the bottom of the left-hand side of this form, and it keeps me from having distractions and building my confidence, because if I am constantly getting it done 2 minutes faster, that's a confidence builder to me. And I want to make sure I am building my confidence, not beating myself up because I'm not getting things done in the time frame that I allocated. You need to feed yourself with positive feedback instead of the negative feedback, and always feeling like, I didn't get it done, or I didn't accomplish what I thought to, because we're making the task bigger, way bigger than you can possibly get done. You want to make sure you get it done in less time so that it builds your confidence. I would rather say, yep, I got this one done, rather than, oh man, I only got 3 out of 20 tasks. Well, quit writing 20 tasks. Only write 3. And when you accomplish those 3, you won, okay? It's all a setup mentally. Now, over on the right-hand side is where I actually keep track of the formulas that I shared in secret number 2, secret number 3. I get very clear in every single chapter what's the worst case scenario. In other words, what is the darkness of the night scenario? I want to make sure the reader sees the darkness of the night if they keep living life the way they're living it, with their money, with their health, with their nutrition, their eating habits, whatever you're writing your book about. Why are people feeling confused? Why do they feel isolated in their particular set of circumstances? And why do they feel powerless? What are the greatest dangers and barriers that they need to overcome? So I make sure that I understand them and where they're at, because it's not about me, it's about them, so that they can appreciate I understand them. I know what they're going through. I know how they feel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them the brightness of the day, because every chapter is designed to uplift them, to give them hope, not to discourage them like, oh, I could never do this. I want to make sure they know that I know where they're at, and that this is what's going to be their future if they don't change their ways. Here's how they change their ways, and this is the brightness of their future, and this is how much better you're going to feel. This is how much more money you're going to have. This is how you're not going to have to worry about outliving your money during retirement. So the brightness of the day scenario is using the LRC, leadership. What new direction am I going to give in this chapter? Relationship, what confidence can I provide for the reader? Creativity, what new capability can I provide so they feel empowered? Okay. What are the greatest opportunities that they will see that they should seize? And what are the greatest strengths that they need to harness in order to achieve this brighter vision? Remember VODA, vision, obstacles, transformation, and action. So this is on the right-hand side of this 11 by 17. The darkness of the night versus the brightness of the day. You want to constantly show your reader the contrast between living life the way they're living it and the brightness of their future if they'll change their ways by following your advice. Okay? Now, then on the bottom half of the right-hand side, I'll simply list the concepts I'm going to cover in this chapter, the case studies that I'm going to use in this chapter, real life case studies or stories or examples. I write down 1 to 3 metaphors that I'm going to use. So a metaphor, again, might be like the foot on the gas and the foot on the brake. And all the dogs barking up the wrong tree. That is a clever, emotional tug, or what we call a right brain title. But other metaphors could be all kinds. I have 23 different metaphors that I use a lot in my books. And people relate to them in every single book because I bring them up in a different way, such as if you're going to be playing in a golf tournament, let's say, and you had the choice of using a professional golfer like Phil Mickelson's swing, or you could use his clubs. What would you choose? I'd rather have his swing, not his clubs. So I have used that metaphor I've noticed that most financial advisors focus on the clubs or the commodity. Buy this mutual fund or stock or bond or gold or silver. It's not in the clubs or the commodity, it's in the strategy. Indexing is a strategy. In this chapter, I'm going to teach you the swing. It's more important to have the swing than the clubs. I can show you what clubs to use, but it's more important to have the swing. If I'm talking about your trust for estate planning, I've noticed that most estate planners and trust attorneys focus on dividing up the golf clubs and the trophies among the kids and the grandkids when you die. I'd rather leave behind the swing, not the clubs. I'd rather leave behind how to fish to my kids and grandkids than dumping a bunch of fish in their lap. See, I'm using metaphors to help them understand my concept in a way that it will stick. These are called sticky metaphors. So you want to always list 1, 2, or 3 metaphors that you're going to incorporate in that chapter. And then remember, from the success formula, you want to use a story. Usually I will use 1, 2, I've used up to 5 stories in a chapter. And stories illustrate your point. Your stories are best. If you don't have one of your own stories, use a story of one of your clients, somebody that you know very close, or you can use a story of a historical figure or what have you. It's very important so that people who are right brain learners learn by stories and metaphors. This is for the right brain reader, okay? These up here are more for the left brain learner who just wants to hear the bottom line, the facts. What's the concept? What's the principle? Here's how the principle applies in real life. Does that make sense? So these are the 4 boxes. And before I sit down and get ready to dictate or write a chapter, this 11 by 17 worksheet is in front of me, and this helps me from being distracted. It eliminates distractions. It builds my confidence as I go. And it is probably the most incredible way to accelerate the project. Hence, that's why I call it the Project Accelerator, Distraction Eliminator, and Confidence Builder all in one. Whatever you need to do, I would recommend that you eliminate or reduce down the distractions and build your confidence so that you can get it done. Sequester yourself if you need to, and use something like this in front of you to make sure you get it done and you don't get discouraged by, oh, golly, I wanted to get this chapter done today and I got halfway through. Well, maybe that was a good thing because you thought of all these new ideas and stories. Or maybe you need to add a chapter. But the point is you got to do it. You got to get started. Like I've said in previous secrets, don't wait until all the lights are green because they will never all be green. Just get in motion and get going on it using this kind of a thinking process. So if this has helped you, I sincerely hope that if you have a book in you and you have viewed these 8 secrets, now I've got some other secrets too. Once in a while, I will teach a course on how to author a best-selling book. But hopefully these 8 secrets will help you get some ideas on how you can do this. See, I'm trying to empower you. This isn't about me. This is about you. And so that you can get ideas on being able to write a book. You don't have to be a writer to be an author. An author is an authority on a subject. The world loves usefulness. A lot of the world will pay you for your wisdom on how you overcame whatever you did. And I can show you how to write it or get it published so that people will want to read how you overcame that challenge in your life. And that's really the secret. So good luck for your next, maybe first book. I've had many authors who have already written or authored 3 or 4 or 5 books. And when they listened to these 8 secrets, all of a sudden their next book became a bestseller because they started to apply the formulas that I have disclosed with these 8 secrets. So if you want to see examples of some of my books, I would recommend getting a free copy of at least one of 3 of the 12 books that I've authored so far. This is a business bestseller. It's the 10 Keys Transformation. This is for entrepreneurs. This book talks about 10 principles that took me to 10 times my income from $500,000 to $5 million a year in 60 months or less while simplifying my life. So you go to free10keysbook.com. That's a digital book in full color. You contribute a nominal amount towards the processing there. If you want to see an example of a financial book, this is the Left Brain, Right Brain, 2 books in 1. This has been extremely popular, bestseller. We're on our 8th printing of this book. You go to laserfund.com, laserfund.com, and contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling in our book funnel, and I'll fire out a hard copy of this one. If you're into how to learn to have family vacations with a purpose, set up a trust with equal opportunities instead of equal distribution. If you want to teach responsibility and accountability to your kids and grandkids, teach them how to fish instead of dumping fish in their lap. Get this one, how to abolish entitlement, entitlement abolition, how to lead your family from me to we. Go to entitlementabolition.com, contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, and I'll fire out a free copy of this book to you. But folks, I'm 70. I don't want to go to my grave without having shared some of the wisdom that I've invested over $3 million in my life, sharpening my saw. I want you to get your book out and share your wisdom so that the world can learn from your experiences and don't get hung up with the barrier that you think you have to be a writer. So the biggest message in these 8 secrets is you don't have to be a writer to be an author. An author is an authority on the subject. Use these methods and these secrets to get your book and your information out there. You just spit it out. You just teach it, and somebody else can be there writing it, recording it, and organizing it for you, unless you enjoy writing. I don't. I dictate usually a chapter in a couple of hours. I have an editor, I have a graphic artist, I even have the marketing person in the room, and I have written now numerous books in about 36 hours of my time. If you add the 2 or 3 hours that I fill out these worksheets, I'm into a book, less than 40 hours of my time. And using these formulas, every one has become a bestseller. So here's to your success. I hope to see you at the top on the bestseller list.